All right, guys, welcome to WCA Pro Qualifier Day 2. We have 8 players remaining. 2 qualified yesterday, and only 2 can qualify today. Joining me once again is Caldi. How are you doing today?
Excellent, yeah. Really excited about these first few matches. We have Savjz versus Lothar, and we're going to have Thijs versus AK Wonder. Pretty stacked bracket here. I'm looking forward to seeing all these matches.
Yeah, we're going to show you the bracket now of today, and then we'll touch on what happened yesterday. So Savjz and Lothar is coming up first, followed by Thijs, AK Wonder. AK Wonder, one of the kind of up-and-coming players of Hearthstone right now. And then after that's finished, we're going to have Life Coach and Deathlord and Hawkeye and Maverick. So a lot of new talent in the lower end of the bracket today, and one of kind of the old favorites, Life Coach, he's going to be playing as well. Yeah,
a good mix of up-and-coming talent and you know, recognizable faces before with Savjz and Life Coach and Thijs. So people from way back, I guess. Should be exciting, especially the first match here. Lothar and Savjz, they've played twice before at the Xfinity, and I believe it's the Heroes of Cards. It's gone 1 win to each of the players, so it's 4-4. Recently, they've both been doing decent. Savjz with 65% win rate over the last 2 months. Lothar at 50-50, so should be exciting. They both have the same lineup as well. Warrior, Hunter, Warlock, yet again. Seems to be the lineup of the tournament here. We look at the last few Conquest lineups. Lothar actually brought Mid Hunter, Zulok, and Patron, whereas Savjz has been going for Mid Hunter, I believe it's Zulok and Patron as well. So we might be seeing that again here today.
You know, the usual free power classes are coming into play. Yesterday we had Kalento and Stansifka qualify for Gamescom, so you'll be seeing them at that event. Like I said, only 2 can go away with that qualification spot today. Lothar, Savjz, you know, Savjz is a player, one of the old school guys. You know, he's been around for a long time. Lothar recently has more duties on his hand. You know, he's a caster as well. He's a player, so you know, he's juggling a lot of activities within the Hearthstone community at the moment.
Being the man to Nihilum, you know, doing really well as a player, doing really well as a caster. I'm kind of impressed, honestly, by his last few months.
Yeah, I mean, he's managing to show some strong play here, strong casting. You know, he's got a lot of probably a bigger workload than a lot of players, especially Savjz. Like Savjz gets to focus a lot more on playing. He does get some casting here and there, but probably not as much as Lothar. So going into this game, who would you say is your favorite to win?
I think, you know, Lothar probably has done more preparation. We talked with him before, and he's actually thinking about the China event already, you know, whereas Savjz was looking more at just bringing a solid lineup. He didn't really care who he was going to face, was happy with the bracket, happy with his lineup, and just confident in his play. So I think I'm going to give a slight edge to Savjz just because of the level of confidence he showed, but I think Lothar can definitely pull a win here today.
And Savjz, you know, he has a lot of experience being one of the old guard of Hearthstone. Lothar, you know, he's been in the scene for a long time. In the last 6 months, his career has really picked up, leaving Planet Key Dynamics. Moving on to a much larger team. So we're going into the mulligan phase here. We've lined up Lothar with his Mid Hunter, got that Houndmaster there, so no surprises. And we have Savjz with Patron Warrior, which is what we've been expecting and what we've seen a lot in this tournament already.
Oh yeah, I think if Lothar can pick up a 2-drop here, he's looking excellent. There's a lot of the mid-game cards you need, the Animal Companion and the Eagle Horn Bow, both crucial cards against Patron, but he needs something for turn 2, that's for sure. Savannah is not going to cut it, honestly. Oof.
He does have the coin. He does have an option to get a free drop out here. What was he going to find here? He finds a Leok. Perhaps a Misha would have been a bit better, you know, to contest this Armorsmith.
Even a Huffer could just kill the Armorsmith, you know. But now we're looking at an in-rate, all right. And okay, yeah, that's not too bad.
So he keeps his Armorsmith alive with 1 health, clears out the beast. So eliminating the beasts and mid-hunters is usually pretty important. You don't want any Houndmaster targets. And you've got these mid-hunters now running 2 Houndmasters and 1 Shredder. They like to buff up their beast cards and gain a bit more momentum that way.
I'm not sure that there was an obvious choice to coin on the Animal Companion there earlier. You know, with his hand now, it's going to get a bit uncomfortable. Is he going to drop the Houndmaster really? Is that the case? I mean, I feel like if he does, he'll need to use the Hunter's Mark as well.
He throws the Hunter Mark out, but he does drop the Knife Juggler instead. So this Frothing Berserker's not going to get much value. They need to take a damage or... he's just going to clear up the bow as well, yeah. He doesn't want to deal with this card at all. You know, 4 health, nothing that can really challenge it apart from that Houndmaster. And it seems he values it more later on, maybe for that high main, maybe to buff up one of these Unleash the Hounds later on, since he has 2 of them in his hand.
To think about it, if he hadn't drawn this web spinner now, he could have technically gone for the Savannah high main if he didn't use the coin before. So I think saving the coin was a more safe approach to just passing turn 2, Animal Companion turn 3, you can go for the bow, turn 4, and then turn 5 Savannah. But he at least has an option here to go. I think he should start thoroughly trading in, then look at web spinner and Helmmaster.
Maybe he's felt a sense of urgency of taking control of the game early against Patron. Patron's a very scary deck, capable of such incredible feats, mass amounts of burst, amounts of massive board control. So maybe he was worried that Savjz may have too many options early on and might overwhelm him, so he wanted to get an Animal Companion out early. But like you said, he would have had a much better follow-up play this turn, dropping something like a Savannah High Main or a massive creature for the Hunter, and really annoying to deal with Warriors.
Whoa.
Is that a misplay?
I can't think of the reason why not to go for the web spinner here.
It seems maybe Lothar miscounted his mana this turn. He didn't drop the web spinner, didn't buff it. There's no reason at all not to do that.
This is weird. Savjz is looking to be way ahead due to that misclick. I mean, yeah.
Let's take it back a moment. If he had that web spinner and it was buffed to 3/3, he would have an option to Unleash the Hounds and clear out the Forest Zone with the web spinner and the Hounds. That could have been a choice there, but now he leaves his Forest Zone alive another turn to start reducing the hand even more.
He also goes phase here with the Helmmaster, and that's just a bit excessive, I feel. He's in a position where he can really push for lethal at all. I mean, he doesn't have a kill command, he has 2 unleashes. Maybe that's why he doesn't want to trade, but still, it's, you know, if it could mean 1 or 2 more draw from Savjz, it's not good news, even though he gets that 1 extra hound, possibly.
So Savjz does have an option for a Patron turn here. He also can fish for another card with this Acolyte of Pain. The Whirlwind costs 0 mana, so he can drop that first, and he can draw a card then, and he can draw another card from Acolyte. So if he finds himself an Execute, he'll be looking in a good spot.
Or even an Inner Raid. I mean, the Fiery Warlocks will also be enough for the Savannah, because he has 27 health, doesn't really need to play scared here. So this is looking just a dominating first game here for Savjz. I wonder what's happening with Lothar here.
And he has a Fiery War Axe as well, so he has another. There's a way to clear up the Houndmaster, takes board, and keeps the Forest alive another turn.
Oh yeah, and yeah, I actually like him just killing the Houndmaster instead of the Savannah with the Fiery War Axe. Obviously, he's gonna need to kill that eventually, and might as well take 4 damage instead of 6 here. But doubles Unleash the Hounds. This actually might be a clear, I believe.
Oh, and he finds another Houndmaster as well, but double Unleash Hounds will probably be a little bit better here. Although, if he Houndmasters one of them, you can clear a Patron.
No, he can clear all of them, I feel. If he trades twice into the 3/3, oh no. I believe he could clear all of them if he just goes for a double Unleash. So he fills out the board, puts all of the Patrons to 1 health, because if you have a full board of Patrons, you can't get another one. That also works, but I think he has an option there to just, yeah, go for the... He gets 7 hounds from the second time around, you know, so you can clear everything, really.
The problem with playing this Houndmaster here as well is it just runs into the Fiery War Axe, and it's just an easy clear for Savjz, and his Forest Zone stays alive another turn. This card is getting so much value right now. If Savjz was to find, say, a Battle Rage or something, and the Forest Zone was still going to stick around, which it looks like so far with Lothar's hand, this is Savjz's game to win now.
Yeah, I don't see him possibly losing this at this point. I mean, what can Lothar draw, really? I need the kill command right now, but then Thorson also stays alive.
Even if he draw, even if he kill commands it now, it deals with it. But he left it alive for too long.
Thinking about more, I guess, killing the Patron, which needs to die. There's more optional, I feel, to leave the rest alive here. But okay, so Quickshot's gonna come down. Oof.
So do you Hounds then Quickshot and then clear the Unstable Ghoul here?
I don't know. I think there's very few options available here. I kind of like that more than just going for left. I think you need to play left spin probably over hero power. You draw into something like a Savannah. But oh, he's not gonna kill the Patron. Wow. Okay. Oh, he's doing everything. All right.
He wants to draw a card.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Wait. Whoa. Okay. And an owl drawn here.
So let's see what this web spinner brings him. Maybe it'll bring something that he needs. Another owl, so back-to-back owls.
I think there would have been an option, I guess, to just leave the I guess just leave the ghoul. I mean, he's already used one whirlwind. It's not too likely that he'll be able to kill his own ghoul anyway. And we have the slam coming down. Should be on the acolyte if I know Savjz correctly. Draws 2 cards now. I think he could just start going to face, honestly.
Just having a few issues with the client here. Having some floaty cards. But this game is almost over. We will have Caldi bring you some play-by-play here while we try and fix this issue.
So we have a Ascetic Swampus here drawn from Lothar in addition to his 2 owls, and he just concedes the game 1 here. So Savjz is going up to a 1-0 lead here. Well played to him.
All
I
right.
think there's a single play we can fault Savjz for in this game. He looked really composed and solid.
Yeah, Savjz played exceptionally well. We had a major misplay from Lothar. We're not using that.
I think misclick is a better word for it. I believe, obviously Lothar saw that. I think he just, was going to play the weapon first, but just, maybe the mouse slipped or something. That happens,
Or maybe nerves.
everyone.
It could be nerves. But Lothar's had a lot of experience in these type of events, so
Oh, yeah.
I don't put it to that. I guess a misclick is a misplay regardless. I mean, if you're in an event like this, you should be more cautious with how you play your cards regardless. Like I said, it is a misclick. It was a mistake, but mistakes are misplays. That's the way I see it.
How I look at it, we had a scenario at Infinity where Tom just played a Warzone commander on turn 3 with Patron against Hunter, and they just got both, and I felt that was more of a knowledge issue in terms of the matchup, than where we had later on in the game. I believe it was Unskiller or Nick Tipper, either or, that tapped with 10 cards in hand and discarded a card, and that's obviously something that he, going back to it, wouldn't have done again, and obviously knew that was not what he wanted to do, whereas the Warzone play was more about just not knowing the matchup as well. So I feel like Lothar obviously knows the Hunter matchup in and out, and it was just more of the misclick, as I would like to, categorize it.
Still a few issues with the spectator client here. We'll bring you in the game as fast as we can.
We have a Hunter mirror actually, and Savjz with a more aggressive Hunter looks like he's gonna go for a turn 1 Leopard Gnome, coin, Worker Infiltrator, but Lothar answers that with an explosive trap here on turn 2.
All right, so it looks like we're back in. Savjz rocking that very aggressive Hunter here. He's got a
Plays a Klevsuka, gets his minions killed by the explosive trap and goes face here. Looking at an ammo companion probably from Lothar here.
All right, ammo companion comes out. He gets the Huffer. Huffer's a important companion in this matchup because at this point they're going to start racing each other.
But with the weapon, I feel like it's more about the board state for the mid Hunter than actually the health. So I feel he needs to gain board control, and he's not going to win through burst against the face Hunter, I feel.
Oh yeah, Lothar's playing the slower variation of Hunter.
Oh, yeah.
And the Acidic Swamp Ooze in hand as well. Interesting tech choice for a Hunter. Maybe because we have so many Hunters and Warriors in the meta right now, especially the lineups at this event, maybe he felt that having some weapon removal in this deck wouldn't be a bad idea.
Oh yeah, he actually had the option to play it last turn, but I guess on turn 3 there, he played the Ammo Companion over that. I mean, in most scenarios, Ammo Companion can be better. It's also more mana efficient. On turn 3, I think we should just start with a trade here, though. Looking at the Juggler, okay, that's not bad.
Wants that knife to hit that Abusive Sergeant. And
oh,
it
and
hits
it hits it. Wow. Not bad.
Some good RNG for Lothar there. Finds himself a Master Swordsmith. Card you don't see very often anymore. It was in Zoo for a short time back in the day, but you mostly see it from the Shredder these days. And the bow comes down, clearing up that Mad Scientist. Let's see what traps Savjz has in store for us. So he has a snake trap, actually. Very interesting there.
Oh, yeah. I feel like Lothar's getting ahead in this game, though. Generally, it's supposed to be slightly favored for the Face Hunter, as he's just a faster variant and just kills the Mage Hunter faster. But with this strong start here from Lothar, I can't see him lose this game at this point.
Seems like Savjz is hovering over this Arcane Golem. He wants to play on curve here, get that hero power in with his Arcane Golem, push some more damage.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like his agenda here is just going to be able to race. It is the full-on race here. And like you said, Lothar's a bit more head on board here. Better options in hand going into this next turn. So he's going to test this trap, maybe expecting freezing, but finds himself with a snake.
I think he was expecting an explosive trap, actually, from the way he played at least. Because if you're expecting freezing, he should have dropped the minions first. So, I mean, in general, in the phase hunter, you're most likely to see I guess an explosive generally. He hasn't seen a Sweater, a Lothar, or anything like that that would indicate this be a hybrid hunter there.
Shot comes down and attacks with the weapon as well, so he's going all in here, trying to take out Savjz as fast as possible. And that Master Swordsmith buffing these spiders a little bit. No, a little bit more extra damage to push. But Savjz finds himself a Glaive Bazooka here and a kill command in hand. These beasts are going to be able to activate that, so he does have a lot of damage available to him this turn.
Oh yeah, I think long term, you know, Lothar's a stronger board, but Savjz seems to be one tempo ahead here in terms of the health. So yeah, I mean, Lothar's not far off lethal though. He's what, 3 off? So any bow, a lot of animal companions would help out. Guess anything but the Misha. Also the quick shot, there's a lot of outs for Lothar, but in general though, looks like he's gonna need to top take a lethal here or he's out. He can kill, I guess, the Ooze, but it will still be lethal for Savjz.
Yeah, that Haunted Creeper, regardless of whether he clears board or not, is going to let him activate this kill command, which is why he held on to it. He knew he had a guaranteed lethal next turn with a kill command shot. So, like you said, Lothar's going to have to find a way to kill Savjz this turn, or the second game is going to go to Savjz.
I think Lothar realizes he has to trade, but it's just sadly not going to be enough here. 7 damage from hand for Savjz here, but
Stranglehold Tiger in the hand, not going to do much. That's a card that's been creeping its way into Mid Hunter a lot recently. I quite like it. I've personally used it myself. I like how it trades into Sludge Belchers. It gives you a kill command activator, which can't be removed instantly. Hindmaster target. It's got a lot of synergy with Mid Hunter, and I just like it's like a 5/5, nice bulky beast that can deal with these pesky Sludge Belchers that we seem to encounter a lot.
It's really good versus Druid as well, you know, and the idea is you play this on turn 5 and the Savannah on turn 6, and then you just overwhelm them with big targets. So even if they haven't executed, they'll need 2. But yeah, we have Savjz taking game number 2 here in kind of dominating fashion, you know. I think they both actually play that matchup perfectly. I've got to admit that, yeah.
Yeah, Lothar seemed to be playing well. With this matchup, the faster hunter generally wins. Savjz had the faster hunter, so the chances of him winning were much higher anyway from the beginning. So that's how it goes with Hunter. You know, the mirror is a fickle matchup.
But Savjz honestly is playing brilliantly. I haven't seen a single misstep, you know, from him all day. And if he continues to play like this, I could see him very well go to Gamescom. Yeah.
And he said he's just planned to win with solid decks. He's not bringing anything out of the ordinary. He wants to go to Gamescom. He's going to be using solid lineups, Warrior, Hunter, Warlock, a lineup we've seen a lot in WCA alone, but also in other formats and other tournaments. It's just a solid lineup. And Savjz actually rocking the handlock here. Good answer to Patron being so popular right now. And he's actually got a Molten Giant and an Antique bot here, which are good cards against Hunter. But this is a slower Hunter, and slower Hunters generally have a better matchup against these handlocks.
I feel it's even, actually, because there's more burst damage from the faster Hunters. And you can get into positions on turn 6 and 7 where just a Shadow Flame can mess up the mid Hunter. But I really like Lothar's pick here of going for the Hunter for the 3rd time, mostly because of, I guess, to scout which type of Warlock it is, because the Mulligan is similar for both Sue and Handlock, whereas it's drastically different for, let's say, Patron or even, you know, his own Warlock there.
So yeah, Lothar here is not giving any more information about his lineups as Savjz. And like you said, he's scouting this Warlock now because it's harder to mulligan against Warlock at the moment in Conquest because of all the viable archetypes. So next game, if it goes to the next game now and Lothar gets a win, he will now know how to mulligan against this deck. He wouldn't have known that in this match. So, you know, getting some information, some smart play there from Lothar.
I go for a Hellfire. It only kills the... This is looking really nice for Lothar.
Double animal companion. Hellfire comes down. Trying to deal with that Huffer.
I think this is going to be the fastest game of the tournament so far. It looks to be. Turn 5, extremely fast lethal here, yeah. Lothar just dominating in this game here. Oof.
These cards are just flying out. These guys know exactly what they want to do.
Oh yeah.
And there we go. That was Wow, I don't think I've seen a game that fast ever. That is probably the fastest game of Hearthstone I've seen in a competitive environment anyway. That was crazy.
But if we look at the players, though, I have to agree with their players. Even though they played them really fast, I don't think were other options in that case.
Lothar just had such a strong presence at the start, and Savjz's options weren't the best, so he kind of just rolled with what he had, and maybe he kind of felt that the match was kind of lost because of how good Lothar's options were. But it looks like Lothar's going to queue in the Patron. This is probably going to be the hardest match he's going to have in this series.
I would think so, yeah. And we see Savjz keeping the Owl. Probably just want to shut down that Acolyte. And I like that if you go in second, keeping one answer to the Acolyte. Because if you have an Acolyte rolling with battle rates, etc., you can get really out of control into a Thorius. And that's how you win the matchup as a patron generally.
Hammersmith comes down, obvious turn 2 play. It's a bit more difficult for a Warlock player to deal with. They don't really have anything that does 4 damage, but it doesn't prove much of a threat to the handlock in general.
Oh yeah. So I think now it would be important, not to hero power if you want to go for the battle rage. But I guess he's thinking about a normal inventor first and then the battle rage maybe a bit later on. So we have a Dark Bomb Mortal Coil. Interesting.
There's been quite a bit of debate about hero powered on turn 2 with Patron, because it does reduce your draw by 1 until they knock off that armor. And Patron's combo deck, you want to pick up those combo pieces as fast as possible. So sometimes it's actually good just not to armor up, let yourself take a little bit of damage just so you get that extra card and bring you close to that combo.
Oh yeah, but against Handlock the idea is if you're taking damage, you're taking a lot of damage at the same time. So there's no way to take 2 or 3 damage like against Hunter, for example. But this is going to be a tough turn, I think, for Lothar. He's looking at, is it face?
Face is the place. Activate that Death Bite for next turn.
But I mean, without an Emperor Thorson, though, he's going to be in trouble next turn.
And not even an Execute to deal with this 8-8. So Savjz goes for the tap here, feeling pretty comfortable. He's going to be able to set up a bit of a taunt wall.
I think Savjz is absolutely good trade here. I think it would be a mistake to go to face. Sets up so well for a battle rage or just any amount of draw turn here. I think Handlock should play this generally, a bit reserved, just kill the minions over and over, deny the draw, and kind of starve out the patron.
I mean, if he goes for face now, he allows Lothar to draw 2 cards with the Death Bite, hitting the Inventor, and he's going to have some damage to face. So he'll be able to draw 2 cards with that Battle Rage. But doing it this way, Lothar doesn't really have a way to use his Battle Rage now, so he's kind of locking out that card. So a good play from Savjz there.
But wow, okay, the Frothing Berserker opens up so many possibilities here. I think there might actually be some merit to just Acolyte Hero Power Pass. If you have 7 mana, he's gonna be able to go for double Whirlwind, and Inner Raids and the War Song and the Frothing. It's gonna be so much damage.
Lothar considering what to do here. It's a tough matchup and probably a tough turn. It looks like he's going for this Acolyte. You might see an Inner Rage on it. Well, I think the Inner Rage has more value with the Frothing Berserker.
It seems that he agrees here. And what can Savjz really do?
He finds himself another Giant here, another big threat for this Patron to deal with. No Executes in Lothar's hand yet. Goes for the Silence here, not giving him any more draws. So he's just been denying draws over and over again.
I believe he should taunt up, though. There's no reason not to taunt up at this point.
He's got that coin sitting in his hand. I don't know what he's keeping it for. 2 Stun Furies there. He's going to actually taunt up now.
In general, you want to keep the coin for Dr. Boom a turn earlier, but there's no Dr. Boom in hand, so you might as well just taunt up. And really like that play here from Savjz.
And the Bleeding Giant is going to be protected here by the taunts. There's a good placement there. You don't want to give him an easy opportunity to clear an 8-6. It's a big threat on the board against Lothar. Things still looking a bit shaky here. He doesn't have an Execute. I don't know where you go from here. I mean, you've got a Battle Rage, but you'll only draw 1 card. You could Whirlwind, maybe play something else with it. But it's a bit awkward for him right now.
Yeah, you can need to Execute here or possibly a second Whirlwind. I think the Inner Rage and Battle Rage combo is going to be what's coming down right here. But if you throw away the patron, it's going to be now or never, though. He needs to set up for a frothing turn next turn, and a Grim Patron or 2 will just probably be Shadow Flamed or Hellfired.
Yeah, and there's a Shadow Flame sitting in Savjz's hand, so he does have that available to him if he decides to commit a patron to the board. It's just so hard for this warrior to punch through a handlock. So many big minions. Alright, so the weapon comes down, the Whirlwind goes off, and we're going to see a Battle Rage drawing him 3 cards. Might find an Execute for next turn.
I feel like the Whirlwind was much less expendable than the... I would consider the Inner Rages. I mean, in terms of the Frothing combo, you need the Whirlwinds much more than you need the Inner Rages.
So, Savjz actually has an easy way to deal with this patron board without committing a Shadow Flame here. Do you think there's any merit to that, to just holding on to that Shadow Flame for another big patron turn?
In general, if you're able to hold on to it, you should hold on to it, you know. But I think tap is going to come down though, no matter what.
Finds himself a Sludge Belcher. So he can set, if he decides to just trade here, instead of wasting a Shadow Flame, he sets up another sticky minion. That's a nuisance for... Oh, he goes for the silence. So he's just playing for the win here. I like this. He's playing aggressive. He's got these 8/8s down. He's going to Mortal Coil his own Owl. I think if you Mortal Coil your own Owl here, you draw a card, and you don't give the patron another target to interact with if he decides to execute this Mountain Giant, but he decides not to go with that play in the end. So I like the stance from Savjz here, just playing super aggressive, just trying to close out the game.
This is actually lethal. This might be lethal. I think it's close. Oh wow.
Oh yeah, this Frothing's going to be massive, especially with 2 Inner Rages as well.
So you double Inner Rage. You go for one on the Acolyte, one on the Unstable Ghoul, you might have this. It's gonna be close though. But yeah, it looks like he's going to get number 5 if Lothar can pull this off.
So this is the interaction that patron players have to do now is very specific.
I think Savjz might feel a bit silly though after this game, as he has the Sun Fury in hand with mana enough to use it.
He also had the option of a Sludge Belcher as well, and clearing the board with the Giants, but he decided to go for the more aggressive play, which I did like originally, but it did set up for an easy lethal here for Lothar. So Lothar actually taking out his worst matchup, being the handlock. So Lothar does have an opportunity to come back now.
I guess if you look at the handlock versus patron, it is playable for the patron. It's not good, but it's definitely, you can come back. It's always to the frothing though, generally, as the patron is just a bit slow and you have so many answers to that anyway. But now, looking at the last game, we're going to have, I believe it's a handlock versus Warlock from Lothar. Interesting to see what type of Warlock that's going to be.
Yeah, we haven't seen any information on that Warlock, which gives Lothar a little bit of the edge, because Savjz is not going to know what to mulligan for, whereas Lothar, on the other hand, knows exactly what he needs to mulligan for. It's
also the tempo, I guess. You down 0-2, and then you win the next 2 games. You feel like you may even win the 3rd game, you know, where Savjz has been coming off 2 losses now in a row. So I think Lothar's actually in the driving seat in this series here.
And Lothar did actually take mid-lock Zoo, or whatever name you want to give it, to the HTC Recharge. So there is a chance it could be that deck. He's already used it in competitive play recently. Unless he feels that the patron field is just a bit too strong and he switches to something like Handlock. And there's also Mallylock as well as a choice. So there's 3 different decks he could go for here.
I think out of the 3, he's hoping, at this point, if he knows what he's going to face, he should be hoping for a Mallylock as the strongest against Handlock. Then you have the Mirror also, so it's a lot of fun. My favorite matchup. And then you have, I guess, the Handlock versus Shu, which is favored for the Handlock generally, if you know how to play the Handlock, which I'm sure that Savjz will be more than on top of. So an exciting game 5 coming up here. A nice series start of the day, I think.
Yeah, Savjz and Lothar are still preparing. Still take some time to think about the games they've just had. Probably what they've got coming up. You know, you can take your time when it comes to picking, and it's always good to spend time to kind of look over your own play, perhaps some of the decisions made by your opponent, and any weaknesses in their game, any misplays. So, you know, this is a game about knowledge and like decision making. So take that time to think over those things.
In general, though, you don't know about your opponent's misplays until maybe after with a VOD, because you obviously assume that they have a specific hand. You don't know about the cards they're not playing, I guess.
Unless you remember that he had 5 mana and he
yeah.
played the Headmaster and didn't play a web spinner, then he played a web spinner later.
How did he, he maybe, he didn't know that he had the web spinner at that point, possibly. But I think, Savjz may be a bit tilted because he knew that he could have played the taunt on the Mountain Giant and then survived, but he didn't, I guess. So that may be a bit worse, actually, for him, having almost won and kind of, had a favorable matchup and kind of almost thrown it there in the last game.
Yeah, you don't want to be losing your favourable matchups in series like this. It can affect your mentality going into the next game, or your kind of overall perspective of how you're doing in an entire series. And tilting, some players handle tilting a lot better than others.
Oh yeah.
And emotions, I guess, are something that really comes into the tilt. If you're a very emotional player, sometimes a tilt will affect you more because you get so caught up in the action and some of the decisions or some of the RNG that happens in the game. Whereas Savjz, from what I've noticed, he's quite a composed player. So perhaps it won't affect him as much as, say, other players who are quite emotional.
It generally goes to, I guess, the less experienced players, the younger players of the scene. I think in this case, they both can be really calm. But now looking at this, it looks to be a type of a Strife Crow-based handlock. In general, against a normal handlock, I would actually favor the normal handlock for Savjz, but it's going to be close, though.
I haven't seen any Giants from Lothar yet. So I'd be interested in what he's actually playing. There was a player in the Gfinity who got second, named Zosas, a Polish player, and he played a handlock with demons and giants. And then I saw another handlock which used demons but only used molten giants. So kind of interesting kind of takes on the build, different variations.
I believe this is going to be the Strife Crow handlock which has Twilight Drakes, Void Callers, and Molten Giants. No Mountain Giants, you just cut those out for the Void Callers, and I believe there's one Dread Infernal and I think one Mal'Ganis as well.
So Savjz has the option for back-to-back Giants going into the next turn. How is Lothar going to deal with this? He starts off with the tap, see if he can find an answer here, but he doesn't. So looks like he's just going to protect himself here. Do you like that play?
He needs to throw away a card anyway. And I think it's stronger to go for Sun Fury than Black Bomb because he needs the follow-up Mortal Coil anyway. But now, with Savjz tapping and going to the second Mountain Giant, he's looking to be way ahead here.
This Mountain Giant's going to make short work of this Twilight Drake. Very strong board here for Savjz. Back-to-back Giants.
Oh yeah.
Lothar's going to have to find a way to deal with at least one of them. He's got a Dart Bomb and Sun Fury to deal with one of the Giants if he chooses to go down that route. Or he could Dart Bomb Mortal Coil. But he just leaves kind of a weak board relying on spells to do some work here. We do actually find is that an Abusive Sergeant?
Yeah,
so it's an Abusive Sergeant as well. So that's another card there to help him trade up.
The general idea with Abusive Sergeant is you run 2 BGHs and then you can buff your opponent's minions with the Abusive Sergeant and kill a Lothar or a Thorvaldson with a BGH.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool way to interact with your opponent's minions and activate a BGH to kill a target that it wouldn't be able to kill usually without the help of that Abusive. So Abusive Sergeant comes down here. Probably just more so just to develop board a little bit more, just give him some minions. And he decides to trade.
It seems a bit indecisive. But what's he going to do next turn then? I think if he's going to... he has to Mortal Coil actually. Because then he could technically kill the Mountain Giant with the Dread Infernal.
Well, that's what I was thinking he was going for, but he decided not to. And the Dread Infernal's actually not going to be able to clear up this Giant.
Yeah, I think if you're not going for that, you should just tap in general, So, I think Savjz is playing a little bit more solid here. He has a better hand as well, so it's maybe hard to call here, but I think a lot of it's going to be really solid on turn 5.
I think Savjz's hand has been a bit more streamlined as well, just kind of like tap, Giant, Lothar. Whereas Lothar's had a very awkward hand in comparison, so he's had to make some kind of interesting decisions. He's had a lot more decision making, I think, than Savjz right now.
He's going for defensive Lothar here on turn 6. It's not what Lothar wanted to be doing here in this matchup. He's getting really close. I mean, Savjz might even just go face, I think, at this point.
And the thing with the Abusive Sergeant as well, Savjz being a player with a lot of a lot of skill, probably a lot of knowledge of the game. he probably knows this isn't traditional handlock anymore. He's seen an abusive sergeant, so that's given him probably enough information to figure out that there might not be Moltons in here. There might be Moltons. He's gonna have to kind of figure out what is in this deck. If he knows the Strife Crow list, it's even better. I'm sure he does, but there's going to be a few things he's going to need to figure out from here on.
I mean, for me, the big thing was seeing the Dread Infernal, and obviously Savjz doesn't know about that, so he might still figure this is just a handlock with a abusive sergeant, which is a bit weird, but possible, I guess.
We did see an ooze in the Hunter, so...
Oh yeah, but I mean, there's going to be oozes and harvesters and everything right now with the current weapon meta.
And the rope's burning down. Savjz still trying to figure out what he wants to do here. Does he hit him in the face and activate the Molten Giants? That's probably what he's thinking about. And Savjz taking another aggressive stance, much like he did last game in the Patron, where he decided to play more aggressively than clearing board. There's no board for Lothar this time.
Yeah, he has to tap. I can't see any other way for him to survive this game, honestly. Yeah, except tapping. Yeah. And what can he top deck?
BGH would be fine, I suppose.
Guess so, yeah. But other than that, I mean...
But you also got to expect these Warlocks to have quite a bit of burst in their hand. Dart Bombs, Hellfires. So
usually, yeah, to be 6 or 9, you know. I think 6 is...
Oh, yeah. Right, so Lothar realizing there was no way out for him of that game. Savjz taking that series quite convincingly, I would say. You know, he played exceptionally well. Would you agree?
I think it was close, you know, but I believe Savjz played slightly better. I didn't see a single misplay, I think, from him overall, except maybe that last taunt up there in the end of the handlock, but it's also always, I guess, easy to know after the fact. But yeah, Lothar looking good, though, overall.
Yeah, some strong play from Lothar. Just a few little things that she picked up. Could have just been a misclick. But overall, Lothar doing what he could with what he had. He didn't have as good of a hand to say that game as Savjz did. So, yeah, well played to both the players. Savjz will be going to the next stage of the tournament. He's one game away from qualifying for Gamescom. If you would like to know more, visit the website, www.wca-europe.com. And if you would like to keep up with us on Twitter, at WCA Europe, and hashtag WCA 2015. So we're probably going to go to a quick break here while we set up your next game. So don't go anywhere. We will have Ties versus AKA Wonder. Be back soon.